It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring...
They're going to be like dead. It's like an island surrounded by water. Big ocean water.
Would you support Senator Lindsey Graham's bill to declare Russia a terrorist state? And you have within your power, you're the most powerful man on earth. Why don't you just enable Ukraine to finish this war tomorrow?
Well, if you knew anything about what you were talking about, you'd be able. You do. I don't think you do. Really, I don't think you do because it's a little more complicated than that. But it sounds easy. We're in the process of trying to make a deal. If we make a deal, that's great. If we don't make a deal, it'll be a lot of people are going to be paying a big price.
Would you support Senator Lindsey Graham's bill to declare Russia a terrorist state? And you have within your power, you're the most powerful man on earth. Why don't you just enable Ukraine to finish this war tomorrow?
Well, if you knew anything about what you were talking about, you'd be able. You do. I don't think you do. Really, I don't think you do because it's a little more complicated.
What's y'all take on this? It's kind of crazy. I don't know.
An important word from our most esteemed leader of the United States.
And Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. You know, they're going to be like dead. Okay.
Please get this geriatric motherfucker out of office. Please.
Yeah, and Rosanna, that's a great point. I mean, you did see him shape the New York City skyline.
Absolutely. And it's not like he's building one of those skyscrapers with gold windows, right, on the White House property. It's going to be obviously something that leaves his mark on American history that's beautiful and Americans can take pride in. He just came back from Buckingham Palace where he sat down with King Charles. I'm sure he looked at their ballroom and said, the White House doesn't come close to this. And he is a builder, and he's done many beautiful buildings here. And he's done some city projects that couldn't get done, that took years and years, and they spent millions and millions of dollars and never, the Woolman skating ring, that's the first time.
It's an iconic thing in New York City.
Right, which they could not get it done, and he did it in a few months and under budget.
Well, and look at how much break.
Yeah, and Rosanna, that's a great point. I mean,
The unnecessary pain, unfortunately, does not end there. Funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP, which provides food benefits to low-income families, is beginning to lapse this week in some states. If Democrats continue to hold Americans hostage, there will not be enough funds to provide SNAP benefits for more than 40 million Americans on November 1st. That is next week. Democrats are solely responsible for all of this unnecessary pain. Why are they doing it? To give taxpayer-funded health care benefits to illegal aliens, some of whom are violent criminals. Since I've found many in this room to repeatedly deny the reality that Democrats gave Medicaid benefits to illegals, and they continue to seek to do just that, I've brought a few verified examples for you today. These are examples of some of the illegals who received Medicaid benefits under President Biden's leadership, and this is what Democrats are wanting to do. This is why they are continuing to keep the government closed. An illegal alien from Laos was arrested for murder, robbery, and felony possession of a firearm. An illegal alien from Guatemala who was arrested for rape and burglary. An illegal alien from El Salvador who was arrested for strangulation, DUI, and burglary. An illegal alien from Mexico who was arrested for attempted murder. The Democrats' open border policies allowed these threats into our country, and then they provided them with free health care. Since I've found many in this room to repeatedly deny the reality that Democrats gave Medicaid benefits to illegals, and they continue to seek to do just
In this environment, you're demonizing ICE agents. If some ICE agent gets killed, and we just saw an assassination attempt down in Dallas, isn't that not something that we should be really talking about like that?
The thing that we're demonizing is when ICE agents aren't following protocols. They aren't acting like law enforcement should act. They're instead literally racially profiling. We've seen it. All you have to do is go online and look at some of the videos. Just to be clear, because I think many people that are listening maybe haven't seen that
You don't
before.
think you're painting with a broad brush of all the ICE agents that are doing their job?
No, we're saying that if you're an ICE agent and you do these things, we think you ought to be held accountable. And yet no one in Washington, no one above them, no supervisor, no inspector general is holding anybody accountable. There literally haven't been any suspensions or firings for the terrible things that they've done, literally grabbing people, tackling them when they're U.S. citizens and have done zero
You've
wrong.
referred in this environment, you're demonizing.
New York Attorney.
Why?
New York.
In this environment.
New York Attorney General Leticia James just pleaded not guilty in federal court in Norfolk, Virginia. It is her first court appearance on a 2-count bank fraud indictment tied to a 2020 home purchase. Prosecutors say Leticia James signed a second home rider agreeing the property would be for her personal use, which got her a better loan term. They say she then rented that house out to a family member instead of actually living in it. Expected to file now, she and her attorneys, a motion to dismiss the case, which she has called vindictive and selective prosecution. She's expected to speak at any moment outside court. We will take you there live. New York Attorney General Leticia James.
Why does Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities?
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed,
the murder
our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years,
here's a map.
They've all gone down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you
now,
is
you're
when
talking
you want
about
to fight
violent
crime. Look, you can pull statistics up.
No,
I can
these are
too.
murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half. And very importantly, Brett, and you got to hear this, very importantly, we've been doing the things that are necessary to bring crime down, right? We've invested in community violence interruption. We've invested in police. I've added more state police than any governor in quite a long time. It's very important that we do both of those things and more to invest in our communities so that we bring crime down. We're doing that. You know who's doing the opposite? Donald Trump.
Why does Chicago have the highest murder rate of all the big cities?
Well, we are not in the top 30 in terms of our murder rate. Indeed, our murder rate it has been cut in half over the last 4 years, and every year it's gone down by double digits. And if you look at all of the violent crime over the last 4 years,
here's a map.
They've all gone down.
U.S. cities, 17.47 per 100,000 population. Chicago is number one over Philadelphia, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Phoenix, Los Angeles, New York, and San Diego.
What I'm explaining to you is
you're
when
talking
you want to
about
fight
violent
crime. Look, you can pull statistics up. I can
these are
too.
murders.
I'm explaining to you that our murder rate has been cut in half.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rubin. I feel compelled to speak out against this misinformation because I currently practice in the western suburbs of Chicago, but I also did my pediatrics residency training at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and that graphic by Fox News was highly misleading. One, they don't put a source for the information that they got that from, but more importantly, they don't define for you what a big city is. Is it based off of 100,000 people, 250,000, 500,000, 1 million plus? They don't state that. But if you look at data for any city that has at least 250,000 people, Chicago is not that high per capita homicide rate. If you compare it to Milwaukee, which is neighboring, they've got 23 per 100,000. If you look at St. Louis, which is close by, it's 69 per 100,000. Baltimore, 50 per 100,000. New Orleans, 40 per 100,000, as well as Memphis, which is similar to that. And there are several other cities that are significantly higher than Chicago. So to anybody who is watching this video, I highly encourage you that whenever you're presented data like this, you should make sure that you're interpreting it critically to make sure you get the entire picture about what's going on. Don't be afraid to ask questions about it and to share this message widely so that others are aware of how cherry picking like this happens.
But see, reason why I play both of those clips is because the other night someone says, you get all your facts from social media and stuff like this. Well, these are the people who doing the research, the actual people, the actual creators. The creators are doing the research. Fox News is cherry picking information that they want to put out. CNN cherry picks information they want to put out. What do y'all talk about? Are we going to continue to watch the news and be like, oh, they're telling the truth, they got the answers? No, sometimes these independent investigators who aren't bound by any rules of the establishment, then sometimes you gotta see with the content creators, because a lot of them are doing their own investigations properly and doing the research. These are scholars, these are real people, but y'all want to sit back and listen to Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and just completely believe everything that you hear. I mean, if you believe anything that come out of Trump's mouth, then obviously, you're completely delusional, because he moves the goalposts every chance he gets. So, sometimes you got to bring out the real information from content creators who actually do it. And they're not just somebody on TikTok. These are educated, informed individuals. Sometimes we watch some just random content creators like myself, but sometimes you got to get the real information from Dr. Rubin, MD.
You cannot disclose the identity of a federal agent, where they live, anything that could harm them. Pritzker, same ballgame with him. And, Pelosi got a letter today from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. So did Brooke Jenkins, that DA in San Francisco. We told them, preserve your emails, preserve everything you have on this topic, because if you are telling people to arrest our ICE officers, our federal agents, you cannot do that. You're impeding an investigation, and we will charge them if they think they have not met me, because we will charge them if they are violating the law. We will protect our federal agents. They're out there working nonstop, as you're showing right now during a shutdown. These people are out there working to keep Californians safe, yet you've got Pelosi out there saying to obstruct their investigation. You can't do it, and we're going to investigate her now, as well as that DA.
The language, to me, that they're using is very clear. It's beyond resist. It's beyond First Amendment protected speech. That's all fine. This is actively impeding and threatening law enforcement agents. They're not the only ones who have guns and all that language.
Well, look, I've never seen anything like this. I started back in 1984. I've been doing this a long time. And look, that's why we're working very closely with the Department of Justice. We have increased prosecutions for impediment tenfold. I looked at the numbers the other day. We got the highest number of prosecutions for interference and impediment than I've ever seen. Attacks on ICE officers, as you know, it's up over 1,000%. And this rhetoric is just, if this rhetoric doesn't stop, I said this back in March when the rhetoric was rising, I said it doesn't slow down, someone's going to die. And the left went crazy that I would say something like that. Well, they have. Unfortunately, I was right. We had a shooter die attacking a Border Patrol facility. We had an officer shot when people attacked an ICE detention facility. We had a sniper attack a Dallas facility and killed a couple of detainees. We've had several shootings in the last week. And it's not going to stop unless the rhetoric goes away. So when the congressman says
I'm trying to figure out how a sniper killing detainees has anything to do with the rhetoric that liberals and the left and Democrats are saying, because it's kind of counterproductive to what that person would actually do if they killed illegals, if they're trying to save illegals, or they trying to, I don't know. Doesn't make sense, but they keep pushing the line. I guess if they say it enough, then they'll start to believe it.
Going to prosecute people, hold people accountable. Hold them accountable for what? For enforcing the laws that you enacted? If Congress, if ICE are racist and terrorists for enforcing the law, What's that make them? They wrote the law. We're doing exactly what Congress wrote with the laws they enacted that was signed by the president and that were appropriated with funding to do.
And now to this developing story at this hour, a big development in the Trump administration's war on narco-terrorists. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth directing the Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group to the U.S. Southern Command. That's the command responsible for operations in and around Central and South America. The War Department says the move will boost U.S. capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt threats to the U.S. homeland. And now to this developing story at this hour.
Good morning. Yes, and anytime you see us here outside at the White House, we are coming to you from the west side of campus. Over on the east side, across the lawn, the walls are coming down, and we have some video of this yesterday. Parts of the East Wing have now been demolished to be modernized and to make room for a new privately funded ballroom. A sampling of the Democratic reaction reads like this. Hillary Clinton says, "It's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it." Gavin Newsom says, "Ripping apart the White House just like he's ripping apart the Constitution." And Elizabeth Warren says, "Oh, you're trying to say the cost of living is skyrocketing. Donald Trump can't hear you over the sound of bulldozers demolishing a wing of the White House to build a brand new ballroom." And this isn't the first time that the White House has had work done. Go back to 1902. Teddy Roosevelt added the whole West Wing. 1909, Taft added the Oval Office. 33, FDR installed a swimming pool. 52, Truman gutted the entire inside of the White House and added a bowling alley. And then in 2009, outside, President Obama added a basketball court. President Trump, with this project, has courted wealthy outside isn't taxpayer funded, which is why the construction continues during a shutdown.
We're putting up our own money with the government is paying for nothing. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
A moment ago, you said that if Secretary Hegseth went to Congress and briefed them on the operations
No, we
against
will
these,
go, I said.
You will go. And
we
it would
will
be
go.
difficult for them to object.
I don't see any loss in going. No reason not to. You know, they'll always complain, oh, we should have gone. So we're going to definitely, I'd like to just tell you, let's go. We'll go. We're going to tell them what we're going to do, and I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical left lunatics.
And, Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress...
We are declaring war against Venezuela. It is about to be a long 3 years of presidency, and we won't get to see the ballroom until 2029, where we will probably see Trump running for president in 2028. So we're gonna have a long time to talk about this, okay? We're going to have a long time to talk about this. We're going to have a long time to talk about, you know, how the ballroom is coming. At this point, it's going down. So do I care? Not really. I think anybody who's focused on the construction of the ballroom is really, you're kind of behind schedule. But I think where the money is coming from that's troubling. But also with this investigation that's going on with Donald Trump, I mean, there was no Russian collusion that was found, right? But it was a necessary investigation because Trump was also saying that the voting machines were rigged. So if the voting machines was rigged and he won the presidency, then he did lose the popular vote, but he won the electoral college. So, you know, he wasn't the most popular, but he won in the parts that mattered. So again, he says it's collusion. There was no collusion, but there was collusion on the Democrats' part, but not in the collusion on him. But they found a lot of shit. I mean, he was convicted. He was arrested. You know, a lot of these indictments haven't led to any arrest. James Comey hasn't been arrested. Leticia James hasn't been arrested. Donald Trump was arrested. He has a mugshot, you know, and he wanted that mugshot. So the fact that there is that, it just lets you know. I mean, if there's smoke, there's fire. But he only became president to elude being placed in jail. That was the only reason why he became president. Because January 6th we all watched it. We all saw what happened. Like, if you didn't see what happened, then you probably you're probably in denial about what happened, honestly.